Trick or treat.
Tales from the Darkside is an American anthology horror TV series created by George A. Romero, who's known for his zombie flicks. It debuted in 1983. Each episode was an individual story that often ended with a plot twist. And the series spanned all the genres of horror, science fiction, fantasy, and some episodes had a lot of black comedy or light-hearted themes. The first episode, or the pilot episode, titled Trick or Treat, is one of my all-time favorites. It's about an old man, Mr. Hackles, who is a miser. He owns a store, everyone owes him money, and he's a penny pincher. He reminds me of a guy I know. Well, every Halloween, he lets the little kids of the town go in there and try and find the IOUs so it'll erase all the parents' debts. Well, when they do that on Halloween, he likes to just go ahead and scare the living shit out of them. Again, reminds me of someone I know. He likes to see people get all worked up. Barnard Hughes plays Gideon Hackles, and right away we see that he's a penny pinching son of a bitch.
Be it possible for me to have another cup of coffee?
You want another cup of coffee? I shall have to charge you 4 cents. My cost plus a 20% profit. I never overcharge. I never cheat.
And he loves to play practical jokes on people, man. I'm telling you, this guy is a spitting image of someone I know.
It's Halloween, gentlemen. Halloween! Have you forgotten? My favorite season.
Meet Billy and his dad, and Mr. Hackles gets everyone up to speed on how shit's run down there in the valley.
All my customers, those with children, of course, make it a tradition of dropping by my home on Halloween for trick-or-treat. Since you're new to the valley, Billy, perhaps you don't know that every Halloween I take all these IOUs and I hide them in my house. And if you find them, all of your father's debts are forgiven, forgotten, cancelled forever.
Mr. Hackles is working Billy like a son of a bitch because Billy's dad, even though he's new to the town, has a considerable amount of debt already built up with Mr. Hackles because he's a farmer and it was a bad fucking season, Jerry. Then we meet the Christopher J of the parents in this show who's making their kid do this fucking thing. Even though Billy's dad doesn't want him to do it, there's always that one Christopher J papa in there.
Charge this to your account, Mr. Muldoon?
Yes. You know I can't pay cash.
Trust that this means that little Timothy will be with us tonight?
My Timmy's gonna find what he's looking for tonight. Yes, sir. I've toughened him up with me strap. I've toughened him up enough to beat you at your game.
And of course, by the strap, he means the World Heavyweight Championship. Yeah! I wished I loved anything as much as Mr. Hackles likes to scare the fuck out of people. So as soon as he gets home, he goes and hides the IOUs in his chimney. And then we get his first fucking victim, a little girl as a witch, which is going to come back to bite him in the ass later on. One of the little kids gets pretty close to finding the IOUs, but Mr. Hackles is relentless, and oh boy, is gonna get his ass whooped when he gets home because his dad's Christopher J. Now here's that twist everyone's been waiting for. This is what makes this episode so good. Besides Mr. Hackle being a motherfucker, he starts getting a taste of his own medicine when I first saw this way back in the day, I just freaked out. It might be generic to some, but when you're really young and you see something like this, it just really gets over like a son of a bitch.
Trick or treat.
Who are you? You can't trick an old trickster. There are no treats for grown-ups tonight.
Now I have to ask you, what would you do if you're over here fucking with people and then you see something like that, dude? Are you gonna go ahead and just go out there and give it the rock bottom or the leg drop? I mean, what's your finishing move gonna be on a witch? I think that's the real question about this episode.
Hey, you.
Trick or treat.
Now, I know a lot of guys that have dated chicks that are way scarier than this motherfucker. I know that. That I do know. The witch lets all the IOUs out in the open, and Mr. Hackles goes into one of his rooms to, you know, escape from what's going on, and he goes into this, like, demon room, and I don't know if this is the devil or the Halloween hell. You have no idea. It's just a real trip to see this in a fucking pilot episode of something. It reminds me a lot of like the movie Legend with Tim Curry.
Trick or treat, Mr. Hackles. Trick or treat. I know it's you, Mr. Hackles. You don't scare me. You don't...
Now, if that same lady was giving out Iron Maiden tickets, dude, I'd just be like, keep it coming, girl. Keep it. I don't care who it is or who or whatever the fuck. If they're giving out free shit, dude, you know, I'm all right. Let's keep it coming. That old Christopher J. Keep it coming routine, dude. When you're serving them chili cheese tots, dude, at the fucking party. First episode, the pilot episode of Tales from the Darkside. It was written by George Romero, and you could definitely tell a cool story like this. Now it's like not over the top, ridiculous, badass story in the world, but it's one of my favorite, and it's entertaining. It's something you want to watch during Halloween, and it has a replayability for me. It's something I watch, about once a year, and there's one that's a lot like this, and we're going to get to it as we go through the Tales from the Darkside series. I think it's called Halloween Candy or something like that. I can't remember the name, but it has a troll on there, and it's a really cool episode. I think it's season 2 and something like that, and it's very similar. I don't know which one's better. This one's really cool, of course, because you got Mr. Hackles, and Mr. Hackles gets over. But the other one too, I think it's called Halloween Candy, something like that. It has an old man too that's always angry and all this and that. So they kind of have their trends that they'd like to do in these films. It's always like an angry old man that gets what's coming to him. But I had a lot of fun watching this one. I had saw it when I was young, and then I went ahead and remember liking Tales from the Darkside, bought the complete collection, and I went ahead and put this one on, and it got me in the mood right away to watch them all. I probably watched like 10 episodes in a row, and this was back in 2017 of October, so not too long ago. And they're not like these, like I said, spectacular episodes or anything like that, but they're just fun. And Tales from the Crypt might be a notch higher for the first maybe 4 or 5 seasons are really good. This one, it's completely different. They don't have all these stars that Tales from the Crypt does. Tales from the Crypt really had a lot of guys or gals that were famous later on. But with this one, they're, for the most part, from what I've seen, there is some, like there's the girl from the film Kiss, The Kiss. She's in one of the episodes, so once we get to that one, I'll mention it again, of course. But they're just fun. They don't need any kind of star power to get these stories over. Some of them, they really don't have anything to them, but it's always that twist, you know what I mean? Or that wannabe twist. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. It's a mixture of Tales from the Crypt and The Twilight Zone. This one, I think, for the most part, no, it might be, blasphemous, but it might have an edge on The Twilight Zone. Like, The Twilight Zone has some really good episodes, but they're very few and far between. There's not too many good Twilight Zone episodes. This one, there's been a few, like out of the 2 seasons that I have seen, the majority are pretty good. If you can get 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 episodes that are like, wow, that was fun, I think you're doing a good job. But hopefully I can do these, pretty often. I'll try and do one a week. This one and Tales from the Crypt, an alternate do alternating things like that, and maybe a Twilight Zone episode. There is like a ton of Twilight Zone episodes, so and I don't know how many people will want to see black and white stuff, but I'll definitely get to that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you all on the next one.
The dark side is always there, waiting for us to enter, waiting to enter us. Until next time, try to enjoy the daylight.
Some might think it careless to keep a fortune hidden about in canvas sack.
I don't trust banks. I don't trust anyone.